Manuel Kranting, that he's in Ayawaso, West Wuogon. We have some results from that particular constituency. And like I said, in the Greater Accra region alone, we have over 30 seats up for grab. This is one of the very crucial ones where John Dumelo, of course, and Lydia Alhassan have been slugging it out there. Hello, Manuel. Have you moved away from the noise now? What can you report?
Well, Gifty, I hope I am more audible this time around. Back in the University of Ghana's RS Amigashi Auditorium, which served as the coalition center for the constituency, you had just gotten the declaration of the parliamentary results, the certified parliamentary results, which put the incumbent member of parliament, Lydia Seyram Alhassan, as being retained. So out of a total of 105,297 registered voters in the constituency, we have 77,604.
Okay. Well, Manuel, I see you're saying that Lydia Alhassan has retained that seat for the NPP, but I'm struggling to hear you. We'll come back to you, which means that John Dumelo has lost in that particular constituency there. Well, I was trying to take you into the 2016 figures for you to have a look at how it went. But usually we've said that in the Greater Accra region, which is one of the swing regions, if a party is able to win, usually they end up winning that election. I want to try and open this up a little bit, see if we can pinpoint Ayawaso West Wuogon. There it is. It is marked blue, as you can see, obviously for the NPP. In 2016, as you can see there, the NPP had 56.4% of the vote. And out of that 56%, the actual figures, 57,563. That's 57,563. John Mahama had 42.1%, which was 24,208. I'm looking forward to hearing the exact figures with which Lydia Alhassan has won or held on to that seat for the party right now, and how many of that John Dumelo managed to get. Manuel, I see you trying to talk to me. Are you?
Yes, Gifty, I'm trying to see if I'm a bit more audible at this point. If you could just confirm for me.
You are. Go ahead, Manuel.
Absolutely. So just, scenes from within the coalition center, the RS Amigashi Auditorium at the University of Ghana's business school. A lot of, jubilation going on. But straight to the numbers, there's a total of 105,297 registered voters here. And at the end of polls, you had 77,604 valid votes. And out of these 77,604 valid votes, the incumbent member of parliament, who has now been retained, got 39,851. 39,851. And then her main contender, John Dumelo, got 37,778. 37,778. That is what the main contender from the NDC, John Dumelo, was able to garner. The independent candidate in the constituency also was able to get 108 votes. 108 votes. That is what the independent candidate was also able to get. So, Gifty, just the figures that are coming through for you right about now. Just confirmation that Lydia Seyram Alhassan has been retained as Member of Parliament for the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. It's instructive to know, however, that this win is a sharp departure from what we saw in 2016, which was in excess of 10,000 votes for the late Honorable Emmanuel Chamantin Ejako he won that election in 2016 by over 10,000. And John Dumelo came into the scene properly after the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election in 2019.
And Manuel, Manuel, I just want you to, I have the figures for Lydia Alhassan, 39,851, John Dumelo, 37,778, but the total registered voters, go through that figure for me once again.
So the total registered voters that you have here is 105,297.
Right.
105,297. That's the total registered voters within the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. That is what you have. Gifty, if that is clear, yes. I could just go on to the point I was making earlier about that sharp increment in the performance of the NDC in the constituency. Yes, they've lost the seat once again, after 5 straight cycles of elections within the fourth Republican democracy that we have. But this time around, they've gone back to their earlier performance. Since 2000, every election cycle, the NDC does better and closes the gap between itself and then the NPP, except for in 2016, when that gap was even widened the more between Emmanuel Chamantin-Jacko and then Delali Kwesi Brimpong in excess of 10,000
I have the figures here. Let me go through those figures for our viewers and especially for our listeners who will connect better with the eyesight. No, so this is the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency right there, and it gives you the figures there. Emmanuel Jacko in 2016 had 32,591 of that votes. Let me pull this, let me take this off for a while. He had 32,591, representing 57.3% of the total vote cast then, which was 56,862. Now, the figure has sharply increased if you look at the total number of registered voters. Delali K. Brimpong then had 39.6%, which is what you were comparing John Dumelo's performance to, Manuel.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Gifty. You hit the nail right on the head. And that performance, in fact, if you look at the votes, total votes of John Dumelo, away from the 22,000 that Delali Kwesi Brimpong got in 2016, John Dumelo has been able to poll 37,000. In excess of 15,000 extra ballots that John Dumelo has brought to the table in this particular election. And so, yes, like I said earlier, it's clear. I mean, there's about a 2,000 gap, 2,000 votes gap between Lydia Seyram Alhassan and then John Dumelo. But what's instructive is that in just about a year and a half since John Dumelo appeared on the scene, the gap of about 10,000 votes and extra has been closed to a little over 2,000, which goes back into the earlier, trend of the NDC in past elections, which got only better after every election cycle. Gifty.
Yeah, so I'm just going to pull up the trend right here, Manuel, so we can look at even the performance of the party or the parties in this constituency since 1996. In 1996, the NDC won that particular seat with 48.6%. And now they held on to that seat, I mean, both the parliamentary seat and in the presidential election as well. 48.6% for the presidential candidate then, and 46.1% for the parliamentary candidate then. In 2000, the NPP took over that seat, but they were able to hold on to it again in 2004. Now, in 2008, something really interesting happened there. What happened was that they voted skirt and blouse, essentially. They voted skirt and blouse. So if you look at the figures here and what the figures are saying, the NDC won for the presidential bid with 51.5%. The NPP then lost from 52.1% to 43.0%. Now, again, in the next election in 2012, the NDC maintained or held on to the presidential there with 49.6%. So even though the figures went down, it lost a few of the voters there, it still maintained. But then the parliamentary candidates took over, maintained the seat with more votes. That's from 43% to 50%. So in 2016, the NPP took over both parliamentary and the presidential bid. And we know the person who did that for the NPP, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but is being represented by Lydia Seyram Alhassan. So this is how it goes. Very interesting there. Of course, the number of registered voters has also increased, as I was saying, Manuel.
Yes, really, you have added about, what, 50,000 extra,
yes.
You know, something in the range of 50,000
yes.
extra voters within the constituency. And for, in fact, the faction that I spoke to in the course of the day as election, you know, progressed, their argument was essentially about scrambling for the vote in other parts of the constituency. It's you know, worthy of note that the NPP since you know, 2000 has always won the election in the Wuogon electoral area, which is predominantly the University of Ghana's campus. And it's also good to add that the Wuogon electoral area, which is University of Ghana, has the highest, you know, registered voters in this particular election. Just as in previous ones, it has led the bus. It leads the charts this time with 20,000 registered voters. All of these registered voters are on the University of Ghana's campus, comprising of lecturers, staff members, students, and, you know, other ancillary members of the university. All of them together make up that 20,000 people. And the NPP has held on tightly to this particular, you know, electoral area, maintained its lead over the years, and, you know, actually even widens the gap. This time around, though, the NDC was able to win some polling stations on campus, something which is, you know, interestingly, has never happened. You have polling stations like Bani, one of the hostels on the campus, which went to John Dumelo. That's never happened before. And so, you know, with the numbers that have come through and the results that have trickled in, especially within the parliamentary race, you're getting an indication of some sort of extension of the tentacles of the NDC, and, you know, just eating into that narrative of doing better after every election. What's you know, left to know and see maybe come at the next election cycle will be whether or not it will be able to close that gap as it has returned to, or the NPP will do or repeat what it did in 2016 by opening the margin. And so the dynamics here, the University of Ghana leads, but the other part of the you know, constituency, you know that you have 105,000. So University of Ghana has 20,000. The remainder of the 80,000 are scattered, you know, across the other 10 electoral areas. I'm talking about Abelimpe, Jowulu, Ridge Airport, Shiashi, Okonglo, Balishi, and those areas. And so the battle really was in those areas where the two candidates went, you know, head to head and scrambled for the votes within those areas. But for University of Ghana, it's been always the electoral area, Wuogon, has always gone the way of the NPP, and did again this time around go the way of the NPP gifting.
Yeah, and obviously with a higher number of registered voters. Manuel, thank you. We'll come back to you to find out how people are reacting to this. I mean, those who voted, how are they reacting to the result? How are the candidates reacting to the results themselves? So if you're just joining us, this is it. We're bringing you figures from the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency.